I regret transitioning. Yeah, I regret transitioning. Crazy, right? I mean, here I am, like 33 years old, and I regret transitioning. And wait, what? No, I don't regret transitioning. I regret not transitioning earlier. But that's what I want to talk about today, is making decisions for your life, whatever it is, if it's your personal identity, your career, whatever. I want to talk about how you can use regret to help drive you forward to make better decisions so that you can live a life that makes sense for you. Like, I regret not transitioning when I was younger. I knew since I was a little kid that I wanted, and I identify as a woman, and I knew that internally, but I was afraid. I was afraid of what society had to say. I was afraid of not having a professional career, and some of those boundaries have been broken by people who have been so great in the community. But I think the important thing is for us to get a little smarter about regret and what decisions will lead to regret and which ones won't. Because in reality, there are quite a few decisions that you had to make, or you as an individual has to make through your life. And for transitioning, there are so many decisions, right? Like there's the decision, am I gender non-conforming? Do I fall somewhere in that range? Am I a full trans woman and I want to go through with all the surgeries? Do I want to do kind of a mix and match? I mean, for me, I did a more of like a mix and match approach. So yeah, that is the question. And I don't know, maybe I will regret my mix and match approach in 5 years and we're talking on the channel again. But I think hopefully if we think through the process of understanding regrets and thinking through our decisions, we can make better informed decisions at that point in time so we can move forward. So we're not living a life with no regrets. Regrets are good. They're good pieces of information for us. And I think the really important thing for us to do is, yes, we've all had them. Have we maybe not asked somebody out in our life? Or maybe we decided that we didn't want to take care of our health and we decided to not exercise or not eat. Those are all little decisions that maybe we regret that build up over time. So I think the first step in this like method of assessing it is we'll call it a 3-step process, like always, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything, I promise. It's the DCD. So the first step is disclosing it. Like, disclose it to somebody else. This is why, like in Catholic Church, they have actually most religions I think have something related to this where you can confess what you did and you can share this with somebody else, something that you regret, but the process of doing that releases a set of emotions and helps you think through it and be honest with yourself. So the first is really disclosing it either to yourself if you don't feel comfortable, but like be honest with yourself, right? And then the second is disclosing it to other people if you feel comfortable with that. And I think the second item for the DCD is compassion. Like, we talk about this on here, and nobody is perfect, and we all deserve to be loved, and you deserve to love yourself. We all deserve to love ourselves. So showing ourselves that compassion and showing others compassion is extremely important. We have to have grace towards ourselves. And yes, I could have transitioned when I was 14 or in high school. But I had to be kind to myself, right? And I said, well, I didn't do that. So, the first thing is I disclosed it. Well, I didn't transition till I was 30. The second thing is showing compassion for myself. Okay, well, I didn't do that. That's fine. There's a number of reasons why I didn't transition at that point in my life, whether it was society, whether it was cultural, whatever it was. But those were the reasons. And then I will, for all purposes, and because I'm wearing like a nice cute set, you can see, like, what do you think? Not bad, right? So I was gonna go out tonight, but the plans changed, so whatever, that happens. But I'm all the way back here because the third one I want to talk about is distance, and that is supposed to be one of the really helpful items for you to like really understand and process it. They say like when we are assessing things, the best thing you can do is get a perspective that's really far. So like one of the examples they say is like, okay, well, I regretted this, I disclosed it, I gave myself kindness and said, that's fine, we're here now. And the third one is like, what would you tell your friend to do? And that gives you that third party perspective. If you can kind of abstract out from your situation as much as possible and say, you know, what are some of like the bigger elements, and really try to get as far away from whatever that thing is that you regret and say, okay, well, what is the bigger picture? And yeah, and by the way, I'm like kind of rolling around. I want to see the effect of this. Like, I don't know if it's going to be super distracting or not, but I have this like gimbal set up. Sorry for that. I'll leave it in just because it's, yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's the third one, is distance. So I think that's all I want to share today, is really those three. But as always, life is about taking actions towards the things that you value and that you want. So I think today I'm going to ask you, like I always do, is to assess your life and say, oh, what are some of those regrets that I have? Is it, you know, did I not take a job? Did I not do something about my body or my health? And I think maybe that's actually probably a good point. I've got another item up here, which is talking about the 4 different types of regrets. So there's one is like foundational regret, which is like not saving money, or not setting up a health routine, or not eating healthy. People later in life, and by the way, this is from The Power of the Regret, is where a lot of this stuff is inspired from. I encourage you to read the book or listen to a podcast or something on it to get an even richer perspective. But yeah, the first one is foundational. Second is boldness, and this is exactly what you would imagine. Like, are you living as you would? Are you taking those risks, or are you kind of like staying back a little bit and staying a little further away? So the second one is boldness. The third one is doing the right thing. I think we all like to be people of values-based humans, and we like to help people, right? We're a very compassionate species, and yeah, we like to help people. So doing the right thing, I think, adds up. When no one's looking, when people are looking, it doesn't matter, right? And then the last one is really reaching out to somebody that you care about. So this is maybe a little bit more reflective, but it's like, okay, well, I was really good friends with this person back in college. I think it would be really weird. I'm now like 10 years out of college. It'd be really weird for me to like reach out to them. And I think that is the fourth one that you would regret. So ask yourself, like, of those 4 categories, maybe find one for each one of those categories and assess it with this DCD method. Again, it's disclosure, compassion, and distance. And yeah, spend the time to do that. And then I think the next thing for you, and the next thing that this methodology suggests, is to like think about the decisions that you're making in your life right now. Is it career related? You know, for me, I decided that I was gonna move from LA, which, you know, was amazing, and I really liked it, but there were a lot of drawbacks as well. I decided to move from LA to New York for a completely different set of purposes. So that was a big decision in my life. And do I regret it? No, because at this point in time, I would never know what New York City is like and living in New York City. So for me, it seems like the right thing. So again, but at that point in time, I think I had to ask myself, would this be something that I would regret? And that's another thing when you're assessing these decisions, and imagine yourself like 10 years from now, right? Imagine yourself to be whatever, 30 or 40 or 50, and all of a sudden you look at that point in time in your life and you say, oh, what would I really regret in 10 years? Oh, I would really regret that. If I never did that, I would really regret that. Well, that's a good indicator that's probably going to turn out, because all of a sudden you've done part of the fourth one, which is provided distance, and that's a time horizon distance. So yes, I actually do not regret my transition at all. It definitely comes with lots of challenges. The process is, I'm very fortunate for the background that I have, yeah, I'm very fortunate, but it's still been really a big struggle, and I can only imagine other people having a struggle as well. And I'm trying to get rid of this identity. I think that's something that, like, as I talk through this, is how do I get rid of this thing that isn't helping me, right? Like this, I'm holding on to some belief that there was some struggle there. And I would be doing disservice if I said that it wasn't, but at some point, I need to move beyond that. So I guess that's maybe a different topic, but yeah, I hope this conversation helped about regret. I don't regret my transition at all. Like I said, I do regret not doing it sooner. I would have loved to have transitioned when I was like 12, 10, I don't know, whatever, like even earlier than that. That would have been amazing, like looking back at that. But again, here I am showing myself compassion, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So